Oh, did you start that? Oh, somebody did. Patty, did you turn on the recording?
I did.
Okay.
Do I get rid of this in the middle? Got it.
Yep, got it. Yep. All right, folks, we'll be starting. Oh, I guess we can start now. It's 7 o'clock. And Debbie's going to be admitting people. So, hi everyone. I'm Pam Demore, the Decorating Diva. If you're new with us, welcome. We are just getting ready to get started. We've got our wonderful host tonight. Our guest presenter is Pattie Otto. But before Pattie comes on, I got to show you something really fun because I actually made something for fun. I made a trick or treat bag.
Oh,
Fun.
wonderful.
This is with our new mesh. We have it now in orange, and I did a witch embroidered on it. And that's just a design that was built into my machine. So I'd like to share that because I rarely make something just for the fun of it. Not that I'm going to go trick-or-treating, but I am going out for a Halloween party with my husband. We are going to be Barbie and Ken as grandparents, the grandma Barbie and the grandma Ken. Barbie and Ken in their mid-60s. Should be interesting. I'll maybe post a picture. But anyway, so thank you for joining us. And we've got Pattie Otto. So I am going to spotlight Pattie so that you will see her, and I'm going to remove me. So there's Pattie. And so Pattie, take it away.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Pam, again for inviting me. Pam and I are going to be busy in the kitchen. We're going to show you, I have a new pattern out just for kitchen accessories. I've got some fun embroidery, and of course, Pam always has specials with her webinar. First thing I'm going to show you is a brand new pattern I have out. And it is plate and bowl trivets. And this construction is so much easier than the ones that I've made in the past. So the bowl trivets, of course, are wonderful. And it comes in 3 different sizes. This one is good, for just even warming up butter, things like that. It's also good, I've been told, for ice cream. And one of our customers said, oh, if you eat ice cream that slow that your hands get cold, you're eating it wrong. So here's the medium-sized bowl, and here's the large bowl. Now, the advantage of this is when you not only you have these little flaps for going in and out of the microwave, but this will also keep whatever dish you're serving nice and warm. I mean, sometimes we cover it with foil, but this keeps that bowl warm when you take it to the table. Now we have plate warmers, and those come in 3 sizes, and they are great for everything from these soup and salad plates to large plates. We use them all the time at our house. Of course, there's lots of really fun prints out there. And it was mentioned that a lot of you that take these dishes, these frozen meals to work, it also is great for that. I've had a request for a pattern for that for several years. Now, the pattern also includes embroidery designs, and that makes this a great gift because they are microwave safe. We're going to talk about supplies in just a minute, but it gives them directions. It really should be machine wash and line dried. That's what it says on the batting directions. So that comes in 3 sizes, and that is the brand new bowl and plate trivet. And of course, lots of, oh, that's way too dark there. Okay, never mind. We'll stick with the bright ones. Comes with, step-by-step directions, as I always do. First thing we want to talk about is fabrics. We seem to have lost our focus here, honey.
It's coming back.
Okay.
It's coming back.
There's lots of really great prints out there. I tend to pick a print that's not very busy for my embroidered side, and then the other side I tend to pick a busier print because that does tend to hide spills and splatters. But like I said, very machine washable. What you don't want to do is,
Patty, just because of the way you just tipped it, is it kind of reversible?
it is.
Okay, that's good. So if you do get a stain on one side, you can reverse it. Okay,
Exactly.
cool.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You want to avoid fabric that has metallic. Any kind of metallic printing on it, I just would not put that in my microwave, just to be safe. We're going to pre-wash our fabric. We are going to use one of the products but specifically made for the microwave. Now, I have surveyed a lot of people over the years, and they say, well, I just use any cotton batting I have. The challenge is, if it's not a microwave specific cotton batting, it may have a polyester scrim. Now the scrim, it's a very thin layer, and that's what they felt the cotton to. So if you've ever seen a microwave fire, there was one at our grandson's daycare a couple years ago, and it was very exciting because a bus had to come and put all the toddlers on the bus to keep them warm because it was winter, and the television station had to fly over with a helicopter. So this is something you really want to avoid. So you want a very specific, the 100% natural that is made for your microwave.
Patty, someone wants to know, does the cotton batting have to be pre-washed?
I have never pre-washed it, and I've never had a problem. And I've never heard of anybody pre-washing theirs. It should be needle ready.
Okay.
Now we have in the pattern, you will get pattern pieces that look like this. And this is from the download. The larger pieces have a continuation line. Simply cut it out, match the continuation line, and that's your pattern. Now we're going to cut a piece of fabric. And what we're going to do is we're going to hoop that fabric along with some tearaway. You could use a wash away. If you do decide to wash it away, make sure you let it dry or iron it till it's dry. But that's your embroidery design. There are 3 different designs for the bowls, 3 different designs for the plates. You might find it easier to use 2 layers of lightweight tearaway rather than 1 heavier layer. But there's your embroidery, and you'll notice I folded it and pressed, and that's my center. And I would leave that mark there, because then when I put my pattern piece over the top, I can align the center of my pattern piece with that center mark, and I know my embroidery is going to be centered. Okay, the question was, what kind of thread do you use? Just like your fabric. Boy, it's just not focusing well tonight, is it, honey? Just like your batting, your thread should be 100% cotton too. If you are doing, let's say I'm just going to warm up a little butter, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, that's not a problem. Where you get into trouble is with the larger items, especially somebody decides I'm going to warm up my broccoli casserole and it's taking 10, 12, 14 minutes. That's where you may run into problems with the polyester thread. So I only use 100% cotton thread in the needle and in the bobbin. One of the things you will notice is...
Patty, Teresa has a question. What about the stabilizer, the tearaway? Does that have to be cotton?
No, because you're going to remove as much of that as possible.
Okay, thank you.
These lightweight stabilizers will break down during washing, and you're going to use a tearaway, not a cutaway. A cutaway is polyester.
Okay.
You want to use a tearaway, and that is like a paper filling. When in doubt, use a wash away and wash it out completely before you construct.
Would a paper solvay be good?
A paper solvay would be fine also.
Okay. Because that tears away and it is just paper, so.
Right. Now you will notice the embroidery designs are straight stitch. And the reason I did that was you could use different weights of embroidery thread or cotton sewing thread. So if you only have a 60 weight thread that matches your fabric, those embroideries will still turn out just fine. If you have a 40 weight cotton thread, and we're going to use cotton instead of rayon, because rayon, even though it's a natural fiber, it's chemically treated. I just always recommend cotton, needle, and the bobbin. But you can use just about any weight except for the 12 weight for these embroidery designs. Now here's our pattern. First thing we're going to do after we're done embroidering is we are going to mark our fabric on the wrong side, and we are going to sew some little darts. So I punched a hole here, here, and here, 4 places on each dart. I mark it with a disappearing fabric marker or chalk or even pencil. You okay?
I'm making a pee-pee.
And then I'm going to connect those lines. Now your center line is the center of your dart, and you have 4 of them for each piece. Now we are going to stitch those darts. What I like to do is I like to begin at the thicker part of the dart, back stitching, and go to the end, back stitching at the point of the dart. So you're going to do 4 of those. You are going to put it on the end of your ironing board or your pressing ham.
Somebody's got their microphone on.
Oh, I sewed all my samples together. Okay, you're going to put that on the end of your ironing board or your pressing ham, and you are going to press those darts. Now, what I do is on my embroidered piece, I press all the darts one way. On the unembroidered piece, I press all the darts the other way. Now we're going to go to our batting, and this is for the bowl. We are going to mark our dots. And in this case, we are going to trim out that dart, and we're going to bring those edges together, and we are going to zigzag that dart. If you make the traditional bowl cozies, these were stitched into the dart and trimmed away. You don't need to do that with this. So we're going to create our dart like this.
Patty, you need to refocus again. It's your focus is
Yeah,
gone
it
out.
just does not like that fabric. Let's bring this back in. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes the white on white, it has a hard time to capture it.
Right. So I'm going to take my fabric piece, and I'm going to take my bowl piece, and I'm going to put them on my pressing ham, of course, is great. And I am going to stretch and seam them so that they match. And any excess will be cut away. Don't worry about that. Just try to shape it the best you can. Now, the advantage of the cotton batting is you can mold that because it's a natural fiber. So I'm going to do that. I will put some pins all the way around. And then I'm going to go to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch in the ditch just on the dart. That's all I'm going to do, all 4. So here is my one piece, Here is my piece that is embroidered, and we've repeated and done the same thing. Now we're going to put these two together. And I am not going to worry about lining up those darts. Okay, shape this the best you can, getting the raw edges together the best you can. If it's not perfect, life will not end. Anything excess that we have on here is going to get trimmed away.
Patty, Jean asked, why do you stitch in the ditch?
What that does is that helps keep the layers together for washing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So once I have that together, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'm going to zigzag through all 4 layers. And then we can trim that excess batting. Now we're going to finish this with bias binding. And that's what makes this so quick and easy, is we are not stitching it to the right side, trimming and turning it. We're going to do is bias binding. And I do have a booklet called The Bias That Binds, and that is all sorts of bias binding techniques, and you will find that on our website. But I'm going to show you why this is so easy. In the directions, it will give you the length of 2-inch wide binding to cut for the specific sizes. You are going to take the 2 edges and put them like this. Just make sure you haven't twisted it. Stitch from corner to corner, press that seam open, and then we'll trim that excess. Now we are going to mark this in quarters, and then just take 4 pins. There's 1 quarter. There's 1 quarter. Here are the other 2 quarters. And once we have trimmed this excess batting, we're going to mark the bowl in quarters, and that's simply folding it in half this way, folding it in half this way, and pinning our bias binding to those quarters. There's no need to join the binding during construction because we've done that ahead of time. Add a few extra pins if you need it, but what I found is by keeping those raw edges together, that binding just stitches on there beautifully. Now, once you have the binding in place, we are going to go to our ironing board. We're going to press it away. And then we're going to bring it to the underside, and it look how it automatically just folds under and is just about in place for us to top stitch. Now, this is one of the things I like to do when I do binding, is I like to pin in and out of my binding and then in and out of my fabric. And what that does is that really holds that folded edge in place so that when I top stitch from this side, it looks really nice on both sides. I don't like to have a lot of excess binding on the underside, and that's what you would get with pre-made binding. And the reason I have you pin like this is as I am sewing, I can easily remove those pins, because we don't sew over pins. We sew up to a pin. We don't sew over a pin. But pin all the way around, top stitch, and you're done. So much easier than trimming and turning. Now I'm going to show you the plate trivet. And this is very similar. We have little darts. And when we talk about marking, I did some research because I, of course, was concerned, what if the marker starts on fire? And everything I researched, it didn't really say anything was heat sensitive. So chalk, of course, is wonderful. Pencil, if you need to. The disappearing fabric markers disappear really well. And I've never had any problem with the friction pens. And we use our microwave, the plate holders, all the time. And I've never had any trouble with it. Now you will notice with the plate holder, when it comes to, doesn't like that. When it comes to the batting, we are not going to put little darts in the plate holder because the plate holder is a lot flatter than the bowl. We are simply going to shape it the best we can, and we are going to steam it, and that will mold very nicely to each side. Once again, we're going to stitch in the ditch. And then when we get the two done, you'll have more excess on the plate. And then we're going to put these two together, just like we did before, pin them, and a zigzag. That step is so important because what that does is that compresses that bulk, and that makes it a lot easier to apply your binding. If you just straight stitch, you're going to have all of this bulk, and your binding just will not fold over the edge as well. So don't skip that step. Can you serge it? Yes, I prefer to zigzag because if I come to an area that has a little excess, maybe my stitching, my seam allowance wasn't perfect and I want to shave a little of that down, I can't do that if I serged. And you'll find all of those directions in my bias binding book. So that's how you make the plate. Now, once we get finished, this step is also very important. You are going to go back to your sewing machine and you are going to restitch over this oval or circle. And what that does is that holds the two layers together. And this is mainly for washing, because when you put that in the washing machine, you want those layers to hold. Now, the stitch in the ditch that we did, that's going to hold the batting to this layer. That's going to hold the batting to this layer. And double going over that line, that double stitching is going to hold both layers together. So that is the plate and bowl trivets, and those are really great. Let's take the white out of the way and see if we have a little better, easier time focusing. So any questions on those?
I think they're doing pretty good.
Okay.
Patty, I do have a question.
Sure.
Since you clicked record and we didn't, I don't know if this is going to be recorded on our computer, so you're going to have to send me the recording so that I can render it and send it to our members.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I have a couple people that were wanting the replay.
Okay, well,
so
if we don't have it, I'm going to need you to send it to me too, sweet, because Barbara was planning on rendering it on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we will talk. My husband does most of the cooking, and Pam and I have both some recipes to share. I, of course, am queen of the microwave. So when it comes to warming up leftovers, things like that. So these have really been great, both the bowl and the plate. The other thing that we have is we have these plate warmers. Now we keep our house a little bit cool because we have electric heat, and yeah, you might as just watch that electric meter run. So our house, we keep it a little cool. So when I'm going to serve a dinner, and especially the salmon recipe that Rick is going to share with you, putting it on a cold plate, what we were finding is it got cold really quick, and it's so good warm. So I came up with these plate warmers, and you have two sizes, and you can do this with the embroidery machine, but there are also directions if you don't have an embroidery machine. They're very easy to do. You're going to begin with hooping a piece of fabric, and you will put a tearaway underneath. If you do a wash away, it's imperative that it's completely dry before you fill it. And we'll talk about filling in just a second. So this is giving you stitching lines and outline. We are going to place another piece of fabric over the top. We are going to stitch around. You've noticed I've folded this edge under because this is going to be my stuffing edge. I'm going to turn it to the right side. And before I fill it, I'm going to restitch these 3 lines, and that's going to give us these nice channels. Now I'm going to take it, I'm going to use a funnel, I'm going to fill it. What do you fill it with? I'm a big fan of flaxseed. What we were finding is with even the brown rice, after a while it smelled. And I've used my microwave neck wraps and things like that for years. So I've gone with flaxseed. You can also use millet. There's several other things that you can use if you don't want to use rice. Thing about rice is it needs to be brown rice. You cannot use Uncle Ben's converted rice or minute rice, because that's going to just start cooking in the microwave. And these will never be washed. But you're putting them on a clean plate. Under, over, just one in between our plates is enough to warm up that plate. And then when he puts that grilled salmon on there and the veggies, it's just delicious. So those plate warmers are also included. Now these make great gifts, and included in the embroidery pack are little quarter-page gift tags that you want to attach if you're going to give these as gifts. All our kids got them last year for Christmas in 3 different sets, and it was fun to pick out fabric. But it tells them specifically they should use it in 2-minute increments and no more than 8 minutes at one time. Okay.
So Patty, I've already given them the link for special number 1. I've already put that.
Oh,
in the
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here is special number 1, and that is, it still doesn't like to focus on that. Either that or I don't have my glasses on. And that is the new trivet and the oven mitt duo. Now this pattern came out a couple years ago, and it is still very popular.
They put spices like cinnamon and cloves.
This is an oven mitt.
Patty?
Yes.
Someone wondered if they could put like spices like cinnamon or cloves in
You could.
In the plate warmers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the oven mitt, and it also comes with a casserole carrier. That doesn't show up very well. I'll bring it over here. This is the casserole carrier. Fits a 9x13. It's fully insulated. And it can be embroidered. It can be quilted. These make great gifts. Now, I do have to tell you a cute story. We had these in Atlanta a couple years ago. And this, one of my students, when I first created this, one of my students had made like 17 of these for Christmas gifts. And her daughter-in-law called her, said, "Thank you, but what do I do with that funny looking bra? You didn't put a clasp on it." And Elvine just rolls her eyes and goes, "I don't know why my son married this one. It's an oven mitt." So we had the gals in the booth across from us came over and said, "I hear you have a bra pattern." So that was the big joke. "Show us your bra pattern." Yeah, no, I don't know that I would want to use this for a bra. But I'm going to show you real quick how you can do this. Now, lots of fun things you can do with this. Like I said, great gifts for guys. My husband loves his because his hands are larger. And you're never going to lose one because you always have the 2 together. This is whiskey. Although we're from Wisconsin, so it's either beer or brandy is our thing. Power tools, of course. Grill fabric. here's olive oil, any of the wine fabrics. We're going to do a little wining in just a minute. So these make great gifts. So lots of things we can do. Now, this is an oven mitt, so we are going to want to be very careful about selecting the correct heat-resistant fabric. Now we have two that that you're probably going to see very popular. This is the Quilted Iron Quick, and this is a Teflon coated. It's very thick cotton batting. Some of the directions I have read said to add another layer of cotton and then your fabric for the oven portion of this. Okay, so you're going to read the directions that came with your heat-resistant product. Another product is called Embroidery, or there's a couple other brand names, and this has a metallic core to it, and it is heat resistant to a point. It's good for trivets, but for oven mitts, things like that, you will once again want to go with 1 or 2 layers of extra batting. Now with this, you will want a fabric protection, and that is if you want, instead of the Quilted Iron Quick, you would want to use 2 layers of fabric. So be sure to read those directions as far as what, how many layers and what you want to do. So for the oven mitt, what I've done is I picked a really fun fabric. Here's my Embroidery, and here's my cotton. And this is only for the pocket portion because I'm not going to grab, I really don't want to grab the pan with this. I'm going to grab the pan with this. This protects the back of my hand in case it should just bump against the top of the oven or the rack above it. My husband's chuckling because, yeah, I have little marks all the way up and down my arm for getting too close to the oven, top of the oven. And all of those directions are included. So I have my oven mitt pocket pattern. I have fabric, I have Embroidery, I have a lining. I am going to trace this, and then I am going to quilt it. Or in this case, I'm going to add an embroidery design. And this is from my Mama's in the Kitchen. And these designs are perfect for this. Very good stitch definition, come in multiple sizes, but I have quilted my pocket this way. And I trace, quilt, and then cut out. Now I'm going to apply bias binding to both of these edges. And then I am going to take a scrap of fabric, and I'm going to run it through my 1-inch bias tape maker. And then I'm going to fold it in half, and that becomes my little hanger tag. I don't turn tubes anymore. I run it through the bias tape maker and I fold it in half one more time. So that's my recommendation. Now, here is our pattern piece, and this is a full-size pattern piece. And this is my Quilted Iron Quick sandwich. So what I've done is I've traced it onto my fabric. Here's another layer of cotton batting. And this can be just your regular cotton batting. This does not have to be the microwave cotton batting because this is for protection. You will not be putting this in the microwave. Okay, if you do, you're in trouble. There's my Quilted Iron Quick. And what I'm going to do is I don't need to quilt this whole piece. I'm going to come to this side. I'm going to put some gray thread in my machine, and I'm just going to tack ever so often through all the layers. And I like to use that stitch that applies my buttons. because it does a tie on, some stitches, tie off, and snips my thread. So you only need to do it every 3 or 4 inches and cover that entire piece and then cut it out. You're going to have much easier time if you leave it together rather than trying to manipulate. Now, one of the things you'll notice, I have a cutout here, and especially if you want to make a lot of these for gifts, if you stagger your pattern pieces like this, you will get 5 of them out of 1.33 yards. Whereas if you put them next to each other, you'll only get 4. And I'm from the Midwest. We are the cheapest people you'll ever meet. And so that just, sloppy cut, and that will give you more for your dollar. Once we're finished,
Patty,
yes?
there was a question about the embroidery. The embroidery is included, right?
No, the embroidery is a separate embroidery
sorry.
pack. We'll talk
I
about
thought it was.
that in
Okay,
just-
so it's separate. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
talk about that in just a minute. And of course, we have great specials. Everybody is
Patty-
going to love these. Yes.
Patty, Joni wants to know, because there's so many layers, are you using a walking foot when you quilt that?
When I'm quilting this part here,
When you have this, yes.
I am
okay.
not quilting this. I am
That-
just tacking it ever so often. But a walking
about the-
foot is wonderful. I happen to have one built in my machine. I've been sewing with a walking foot for over 45 years, and
And what about
can't
when you sew the binding on? Are you using a walking foot then?
you have to be careful because sometimes it gets caught underneath the binding foot.
Yeah.
So just be careful when you're doing that. Now, the next step is super important. Once you have that pocket onto your cutout, you need to zigzag all of those layers together again. What I want you to notice is my binding is perfect from 3 layers of fabric to 6. And that's what that zigzag compressing that bulk does. It just gives it a very professional finish.
Could you serge it?
You can serge it, but if I come to an area where I might need to shave off a little fabric, you can't do that if you've serged. Let's say I come to an area and my binding just isn't laying right.
Got
and I
it. Got it.
decide if I trim off a little bit
Yep.
of that seam allowance, it will lay better. If you've serged it, you're going to lose your serging.
Yep. Okay.
So this is one place I specifically recommend doing a zigzag. The casserole carrier is super easy. We'll take the casserole out. Unfortunately, it's empty. Tonight's casserole is zucchini parmesan, but that is already in the oven. So you have 2 side pieces, and this is a 7/16 inch dowel. You could also get a really long wooden spoon, and it tells you how to adjust these side flaps. Bias binding on the side, and then they attach to your big square of quilted iron quick, and bias binding all the way around. Velcro will hold this in place. And of course, now they have all sorts of really fun colored Velcro out there. And these make a great gift also. But as you can see, with all the oven mitts that I've made over the years, that is really, really popular. Let's do some embroidery. First thing we're going to do is some wine. And I don't know if you can see it back here. I have a wine apron, and this is a Christmas tree made out of wine names. I'll show you that up close in just a minute. Over here, this says K Shiraz Shiraz. And this is probably one of my favorites. It says, rescuing wine is my superpower. What's yours? And I noticed, Pam, I noticed that I think you had a little glass there when I was
Oh,
looking
just,
at you
just a
earlier.
little one, just a little one, yes.
Okay, what's your favorite?
Well, tonight we're drinking what is it, Debbie?
Apothic red.
Apothic Red.
Oh, that's one of my favorites too. I like the
Yes.
Apothic Merlot also.
Yes, I like all the Apothic wines, yes.
I tend to like my wine, like I like my humor, you know, dark and dry. So let's have some fun. We have those little wine aprons, and you can get those at All About Blanks. And Susan Mars, who owns All About Blanks, that's my husband's expo wife. You know, you have a work wife. My husband has an expo wife. And yeah, that's his buddy. So
I want to be his expo girlfriend.
Oh, that's what I need an expo boyfriend. Well, no, that's Joe. What's his name?
Joe Beccarelli.
Yeah, Beccarelli and Brett from Famori. He's everybody's boyfriend. That's right. Okay, we have these cute little wine aprons, and they come with a little wine hat. Like I said, you can get those from All About Blanks, and this is just a great way to give a bottle of wine. And I'm going to show you how to design these. What you're going to do is, and you can do this on screen for your embroidery machine, or you can do it in software. And you have this template here, and that just happens to fit the wine aprons. Now you are going to open up the embroidery designs, and there are tiny designs on there. And of course, there's bigger designs for towels and aprons and things like that. And you're going to place those designs wherever you want them. This wine glass, very tiny. This says roses are red, violets are blue, blah, 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 wine. Here's one. Here's my wine superpower logo. And I put the embroidery on the pocket. We're going to go to our embroidery machine. Let's see if it focuses on this. There we go. And I am going to stitch the outline first. And that's why I loaded that into my software first. And then I'm going to, this is a tearaway stabilizer. I'm going to spray a little spray adhesive. I am going to press this in place. And it's going to embroider the design exactly where I need it. This 2 wine glasses is really cute. I have done 8 little wine aprons like this for a wedding with the bride and groom's name and the date on there. That's really cute. And all of those come in multiple sizes. This is one of my favorites, How Merlot Can You Go? And then Wine Flies When You're Having Fun. We have the designs also come larger sizes. Chairman of the Bordeaux. And these towels are also from All About Blanks. And then I add a little contrasting ribbon. Oh, here's the double wine glass. This one is, as I said, multiple sizes. It would be really cute on an apron with wine. Towels, of course, are always great gifts. I don't know any kitchen that can have enough towels. Here is, wine and grapes and cheese. There's a really pretty Chianti bottle in a couple different sizes. Once again, here's my Merlot. And I usually give a set of 2 or 3 towels when I give us.
They want to know what stabilizer you're using for your towels.
Just a tearaway. This is a very flat weave towel. These designs are not very dense. This towel will get washed and dried and washed and dried and washed and dried. So I find just a good quality mid-weight tearaway works really well. And some of these towels have been washed many times. Here's the Christmas tree, and this comes in, I believe, 3 sizes. You will notice the star at the top. The trunk of the tree is the stem of my wine glass. And I would drink all of these: Rosé, Chianti, Malbec, Pinot, Riesling, Zinfandel, and Sauvignon. So those are just some of the embroidery designs. As I said, multiple. Here's a cute apron, not necessarily Christmas theme, but cute apron. And like I said, they're in multiple sizes. Now, this is another good one, either for an apron or an accompanying towel. Jingle bells, Zinfandel, pass the Cabernet. So you'll notice the exclamation point at the end. So that is just some wine designs, and that is in special number 2. You have your choice of both wine designs, and then you have your choice of some more kitchen designs. And I put those in a good spot right here.
And I've posted that link, and if you guys need to see that again, let me post it
Right.
again.
So you get these two. Normally the 2 would be $40 for download. The special tonight is $30. Or you can have the 2 kitchen ones, or you can have both, but they're each normally $40. And the special for the pair is $30. And it
And I think
includes,
Terry's got it set up so that you just, when you buy it, you're going to get the download automatically. I think she tested it today and it worked okay.
very good, very good.
She's
And
the
there's
bomb. She's the bomb.
idea gallery in there. In the Whisk Me Away, there are these designs. Perk Up, Beat It, Be Grateful, and there's several other, but also just this one, Just Eat It. Just, for your kids, just eat it, please, come on. Now our grandsons they're very good eaters. They get a lot of vegetables. One year for my son and daughter-in-law made a delicious leg of lamb, and he was, I think, 5 at the time. I like this chicken. I want more chicken. Okay, so I don't know how many holidays it was chicken, but he ate it. So but the youngest one has very specific rules. Chicken nuggets, Grandpa, are not for lunch. They're for dinner. And I don't like meatloaf. Well, you're going to eat it anyway. Whereas his older brother goes, I love Grandpa's meatloaf. It's even better than Mommy's. So just lots of just really fun, quick and easy to sew. Mama's in the Kitchen has some really great, and these are just outline designs. Now, I know that flour sack towels can be hard to embroider on, and you really don't want a dense design. So these designs, outlines, I will use a matching thread in the needle and the bobbin and a wash away. And then I can go and take my fabric markers, and my fabric markers are the colors, the permanent fabric markers. And that's the color. And they still are very lightweight. So if you have people that like flour sack towels, it doesn't affect the absorbency of the towel. And so that's the Mamas in the Kitchen. Even things like this, just very simple yet very practical. Now I am painting, drawing, glue, any of that stuff for me is a full contact sport. But I actually painted those little flowers on these 2 towels. I was just so proud of myself, because that is not one of my skills in life. I will tell you, if you're using fabric markers, if you haven't used them for a while, test them on a scrap of fabric, because they may bleed if you haven't used them in a while. The other thing is, when I start painting, I start in the middle in case they do bleed, and then I work my way to the edge. And that's from somebody who's not a painter. So
they're asking what kind of fabric markers.
The tulip fabric markers, Marvy is another brand that I use. any of those permanent. And then once they're done, you're going to heat set, and that will go from wash to wash to wash. But this is the mom is in the kitchen, those designs there. And if you go to my website, you will get an idea of all the different designs. And then of course, Pam has these great specials. So, okay, Pam, let's talk about what's cooking.
What's cooking? Okay, Debbie, let's put my camera back on here. So Debbie's putting me back on, and we're going to, let me see here. And then you need to pin me, you need to spotlight me. Do you know how to do that? Yeah, I can do it from here. Spotlight. Okay, so Patty and I have some great recipes we're going to share with you. And actually, Terry posted hers on the website. So when they go to the special, there's each 3 recipes, and each one's going to be with each special. So you can just go and look at those and just copy them down. She could only do 1 download per link. So the download is the special, okay, that you're going to buy. But if you want Patty's recipes, and I don't remember what were they, Patty? Run them off to me again.
Okay, my recipes was my husband's grilled salmon bruschetta recipe,
which looks great. I was reading that.
Die for. He makes it at least once a week. He always makes extra, so I have some for salad or whatever I want to do. The next recipe was mine, and a lot of you, I know Pam knows this, I eat a very strict Mediterranean diet.
And that looked good too.
I don't eat I eat almost no sweets. I know most of my friends think it's terrible, but this is what I snack on. And these are these spiced nuts. Now, the original recipe had a cup of sugar for each pound. I've got it down to 2 tablespoons, but your cinnamon, your nutmeg, you do need a little sugar so it caramelizes. And then the second recipe is from my husband's family, and we call it Aunt Louise's dip. And it was at every family event. Everybody loves it. Several years later, she said, oh, by the way, I got that off the Lay's potato chip bag. But it's Aunt Louise's dip. So those are my 3 recipes.
Okay, so my 3 are, I'm going to, and I'm going to email these to you folks. So if you want them, you have to send me an email, pam@pamdemore.com. And I just posted my email a minute ago. I'm going to do chicken piccata, which is my friend Kimberly Vespa, who did our 24-hour webinar last year. She has a cookbook. If you like that recipe, she has a wonderful cookbook full of Italian recipes. And she was a chef at a restaurant where I used to bartend, like over 40 years ago, or about 40 years ago. Anyway, so I'm going to do chicken piccata, and I'm going to do another one. It's another Italian recipe, but I'm not Italian. I just love Italian food. And there's a name for it, and I just call it rice balls, but it's actually it's like these rice balls that are fried, and then you pour a marinara sauce over them, and they're really yummy. And it's like one of the favorite lunches for my girls here. But my staff, I cook lunch for the staff every day. So I was asking some of them, like, what do you think I should do? And one of them that they said is, we love your soup. So I'm going to do my butternut squash soup, because it's kind of like that time of year. So those are my 3 recipes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I was going to ask a question, and I can tell I'm tired. Things have been
It's been a busy day.
Just crazy here. Between alterations, I'm still crazy with alterations. I'm teaching 3 days this weekend, and then Pam and I are leaving for the expo in Novi, Michigan.
You know, I think people think when we're home, it's like vacation, because they're not seeing us teach. And like, I know when my staff here, they think when I'm out teaching, then I'm on vacation, because I'm not here at home working. It's like, no, I'm working all the time.
That's right. There's kits to be prepped. There's emails to be answered. You always have that 2 or 3 new ideas rolling around in your head. And Pam, what's your newest thing? What are you going to work on?
Well, right now, my thing on my plate is Debbie and Barb and I on Thursday are going to tear up the flower garden.
Okay.
But as far as designing, I've got, we're trying to finish up the Franny pack, getting that done, and that's really close. And then after that is the Gracie Grab and Go, and that's going to be the next one that we're going to be working on. So I'm trying to get some of my patterns kind of taken care
Okay.
of. So.
Well, I posted my newest patterns on the website today, and that's the Cozumel and the Malibu. And I have on, this came out earlier this year, this is the Charlotte for knits. And we're going to have some really nice knits in Novi, Michigan.
Cool. Well, I will come by and check them out.
Okay.
Do you
Any
have
other
any
questions?
For either me or Patty? I think you've just wowed them so much they have no questions.
Okay, well, good. Well, the pattern specials are linked through Pam's website. And Pam's going to give you that link again.
Yeah, let me, for some reason, where's my, oh, there's the chat room. Okay. Here's the last one. Here's special number 3. I'm just posting that right now. I'll go back and do the other 2 posts here. This is second here.
How long is the special?
The special will be good for one week, Patty. Is that right?
That sounds great.
Okay. 1 week, and this is special number 2 coming up, which is the wine one. And then let me go back and grab special number 3. I mean number 1. And that is the one with the kitchen duo and the bowls.
Trivet duo, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's number 1. Okay. Oh, you know what? I think I sent those all directly to Karen. I didn't send them to just a minute. I need to do that to everybody. Sorry, guys.
So
yeah.
well, I will have a couple new patterns on the drawing board after the first of the year. I might actually work on one of the 4 quilts that I've started and moved twice. But don't hold me to that. I did finish a Halloween costume today for the oldest grandson because that request came in. So that's done, and just keeping busy. That's what keeps me out of the bars, because that's such a problem.
Well, that's not good.
Well, Pam, thank you again for inviting me. We will do lunch in Novi.
Okay.
Okay.
And Sue Ellen got confused about the recipes. Sue Ellen, Patty's recipes are on my website. If you go to the webinar specials, each recipe is posted on the website where you can copy it down. My recipes, if you send me an email, pam@pamdemore.com, let me just type that. I will email them to you. I don't have them typed out right now, so I'm going to have to do that at some point. Yes, Patty, let's do lunch next week. It'd be fun.
Sounds good. 2 weeks from
Take
now.
care.
2 weeks from
Bye,
now.
everybody. Thank you for joining us. Take care.
Yes, thank you. Have a good night.
And you need to end it. Yep.